Episode 7. You are a Jew inwardly. So why are you still living like a Gentile? Romans 2:28-29 KJV. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, but he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, in the spirit and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of God. You call yourself a Christian. You say you believe in Jesus. You claim to be born again. But if Paul says you are now a Jew inwardly, then why are you still living like a lawless Gentile? Why are you rejecting the commandments? Why are you breaking the Sabbath? Why are you calling sin grace and tradition truth? This is the final episode, and it demands a personal question. If God calls you his Jew, his covenant child, then why are you still acting like a stranger to his law? Spiritual birth requires spiritual obedience. When Paul says he is a Jew inwardly, he's not talking about heritage, he's talking about identity. You have become part of the spiritual Israel of God. You are no longer an outsider. You're an heir to the promises, grafted into the olive tree of faith. Romans 11:17, Galatians 3:29. But this identity comes with responsibility. The mark of the Jew has always been obedience. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. 1 John 5:3. To be spiritually reborn is to live in full surrender to God's authority, and that authority includes the 10 Commandments, the 4th commandment, and the Sabbath day. Modern Gentile Christianity is a fraud. Today's churches are filled with spiritual impostors. They claim the blessings of Abraham, but reject the obedience of Moses. They say they are under grace, but live in defiance of God's will. They reject the Sabbath, eat unclean foods, celebrate pagan holidays, and boast, "We are free in Christ." But Paul is asking, free from what? From sin or from the law that defines sin? 1 John 3:4. You are no longer a Gentile in the Spirit. You are no longer outside the covenant. You are a Jew inwardly, so start living like one. The Sabbath is not optional for God's people. Let's be clear. The Sabbath was never just for the Jews. It was made at creation. Genesis chapter 2:2-3. Commanded in Exodus 20:8. Delighted in by Isaiah 58:13-14, and kept by Jesus, the apostles, and the early church, Luke 4:16, Acts 17:2. And it will be kept in eternity by all flesh, Isaiah 66:22-23. So why are you, spiritual Jew, rejecting your own heritage? Why are you keeping Sunday, a man-made tradition, over the very day God sanctified and blessed? Final warning to churches and leaders. This message is not popular, but it is prophetic. If you continue in rebellion, if you continue preaching Jesus is our rest while rejecting the command he wrote with his own finger, then you are not a spiritual Jew, you are a religious Gentile wearing a Christian mask. Jesus will say to many in that day, "Depart from me, ye that work iniquity, lawlessness." Matthew 7:23. Don't let that be you. Closing thought. God has called you his own. He's cut your heart. He's grafted you into his tree. He's written his law in your mind and spirit. Now live like it. You are a Jew inwardly. So stop living like a Gentile. Return to the commandments. Return to the Sabbath. Return to the truth before it's too late.